Good afternoon and welcome to the NACNS Nominating Committee nomination season kickoff. My name's Ken. I'm the chair of the nominating committee for 2024 through 2025. And with me, I have presenting Alex, as
Hi.
well as Mike Hartman, who is our co-chair for this year and will be the chair next year. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we hope that this helps you or that you're spreading the message to your colleagues to help serve the NACNS this upcoming election season in one of the available roles. These are the nominating committee members for 2024 through 2025. Current members include myself, Linda Cole, Mike Hartman, Allegra Del Rio, Alex Hughes, Lizzie Savage, Renisha Abrams, Brittany Rhodes, and our board of directors, liaison, and immediate NACNS past president, Mitzi Saunders. Some of my colleagues are currently on the call, as I introduced earlier, and our contact information can be found at the end of this presentation. For those of you considering running for office, one of our committee members will be speaking to you at some point during the application process.
Our goal today is to provide some information about the elected positions that will be available for the 2024-2025 election cycle. Along the way, we'll talk a little bit about the benefits of service and anticipate some of the questions that you might have about the process and next steps. We'll also be incorporating some video clips from board members who are currently serving or have served with the NACNS. While we won't have open lines for questions, we do encourage you to use the chat box to submit any of your questions, and we'll do our best to address them at the end of the presentation. You're also welcome to email me or any of the other committee members if you have any specific questions or comments. We'll provide that information at the end of the webinar.
NACNS needs the time and commitment of its members in order to function. It's that simple. We're all busy, but if you want to see our role supported at the national stage, there needs to be an organization with active members making that happen. NACNS represents us in the presence of various national stages or with other professional organizations such as the ANA, HHS, or NIH. Having the CNS at these tables with our APRN and other colleagues is critical to role success. And while NACNS still has opportunities for membership growth, the CNS network supported by NACNS provides a forum to reach across state lines and build networks of APRNs that can help to more fully implement the CNS role. You each bring a wealth of experiences and expertise that strengthens the organization during your service, elevating us all. Service with NACNS ensures that the activities of the organization function, continuing to serve our CNS member base. As a volunteer organization, NACNS depends on the service of leadership of its members, on its board of directors, and the various committees and teams necessary to function. Finally, having outstanding volunteer leaders in the organization provides an essential pool of experts to serve on other outside organizations. Once they learn about us, everyone wants a CNS on their team.
NACNS's value is closely connected with its promotion of the CNS role. The NACNS's work helps to ensure that the role of the CNS will continue to grow and succeed based on the strength of, and it's based on the strength of our membership and the organizations which we support. While the CNS role is active and vibrant in some parts of the country, our presence is still shrinking in many states, and programs continue to shutter due to low enrollment and limited opportunities within those states. NACNS supports the role through national practice support, advocacy, practice data and surveys, and documents such as our position statements to help bring attention and awareness of what CNSs can do for them. As healthcare continues to evolve, the CNS role needs to be positioned in order to evolve as well. In many of your organizations, COVID-19 revealed how the critical expertise and adaptability of the CNS role serve hospitals during complex situations. Service opportunities such as volunteering with the NACNS allow you to help drive that role forward in various ways through NACNS activities and initiatives.
I'm sure the bigger picture is enough to inspire each of you, but let me talk a minute about what's in it for you. Service with local, state, or national organization provides you many professional experiences that can add to your toolbox. These are a few that we've identified, but depending on where you are in your career, the personal benefits could go well beyond these. Gaining greater confidence and competence as a leader and communicator amongst your peers is invaluable. Additionally, while you are all highly skilled and knowledgeable in your own clinical and organizational environments, service with NACNS can be a great chance to expand your scope and perspective, learning where you might fit advancing the role of the CNS. Additionally, service within NACNS presents you an unparalleled opportunity to network with CNS movers and shakers from across the country. As we can all attest, one of the most powerful skills a CNS has is their network of experts. And of course, most organizations value volunteer service, especially for national professional associations.
So we're going to discuss some of the open positions for the nominating committee, board of directors, and president-elect. So we'll go ahead and start with the nominating committee. So I joined the committee in April of 2023. We have 8 members in total. Each are serving 2-year terms with 4 members rotating off every year. So at the end of this term, I'll be rotating off and we'll be replacing my class with 4 new members. So for 2025, NACNS is looking for 4 new members to replace us. It's our primary responsibility to put together each year's ballot for NACNS leadership. Additionally, we support the board of directors and membership with any other needs related to candidates as well as the election process. For example, our committee recently supported efforts to improve board member representation as it relates to our membership composition.
Our work within the nominating committee primarily takes place from April or May through October, where we conduct educational sessions like this and screen and interview potential ballot candidates. Depending on the number of potential candidates for a position, we may also need to do a little additional networking to ensure we have a good selection of high quality candidates. Overall, from March to August, we usually hold monthly 1-hour conference calls. Our busy time is usually in August and September when we are preparing the ballot, conducting applicant interviews. During these 2 months, you can expect to spend 2 to 3 hours on conference calls and applicant interviews. I'd estimate another 1 hour per month in November and December as we wrap things up for the year. During the last few years, we've been asked to present at the annual conference. So for those who are presenting, there are some additional time commitments in January and February as we lead up to the conference.
We're seeking we maintain 6 total at-large members with 3 rotating off every year so that we always have members with experience on the board, 3 experienced members with 3 members learning the position. Members ensure all activities fall in line with the strategic goals of NACNS and the CNS role in general. They're responsible for financial stewardship of the organization and ultimately supporting our members. These members participate on committees, groups, etc., as needed and representative of the board. Our members at large advocate for the CNS role and practice with any opportunities we have.
The time commitment to be a board member is about 2 hours a week on average, with additional monthly commitments. There are monthly meetings, and then 2 of those meetings are face-to-face. One is usually at the conference all day, and then another one throughout the year as well. During these meetings, there's an emphasis on professional development with relation to the board, and that may change or evolve depending on what's going on in the world. There were some changes in the workflow during COVID, for example. Additional time for committee participation, which is about 1 hour a week. So total, looking at about 12 to 15 hours per month for the board member volunteer participation.
Our secretary and treasurer roles just merged into one dual role. And so that has a lot more appropriate work distribution amongst our board members here. So our dual secretary treasurer position is responsible for the financial and operational functions of the board, including communications, along with our virtual teams working with NACNS. This role is responsible for budget, communications, including meeting minutes, email communications, social media. They're the chair of the finance committee as the treasurer, and also chair of the bylaws committee as needed as the secretary.
The time commitment for the secretary and treasurer role is about 4 to 6 hours per week on average, with additional monthly commitments. The monthly meetings participation could be around 5 hours a month. And just like on the board of directors, 2 of those meetings are face-to-face, where one is at the conference and the other is at another time during the year. And participation emphasizes professional development with relation to the board. And then there's also monthly calls with the executive committee, the operations meeting, and the CNSI fellowship group. I want to really emphasize the need for nominees for this position for this year. In the past, the secretary treasurer position usually has low levels of nominee participants. So if you're wanting to serve NACNS, there's a real need here in this role and a great opportunity for robust participation and volunteership.
The president-elect can anticipate needing to serve approximately 4 to 6 hours a week on average, with additional monthly meetings. Monthly meetings can be approximately 5 hours a month. These meetings, 2 of them will be face-to-face. So one is going to be an all-day meeting at the conference, and one other will be one other time during the year. The emphasis of these meetings are going to be professional development with relation to the board, and the needs can really change or evolve based on the needs of the organization. There will also be monthly calls with the executive meeting, operations meetings, and the CNSI Institute.
Here's a look at the time commitments for the years of service that are involved with being president as you transfer from being president-elect to being president, and then the year of service thereafter as the immediate past president. It's really a long 3 years of dedicated service where you really make a huge impact on CNSs around the world. As president-elect, you see the commitment really jumps up as you enter your presidency year, where the commitment ends up being about 80 hours per month. And then in the immediate past president role, the amount of time ends up being about similar to what you will serve as president-elect.
So additionally, we just want to make sure that anyone interested is aware that the NACNS Board of Directors is a working board. So these board members are going to be responsible for participating in the program, fundraising, administrative work, any operations that we need to sustain the organization and continue to promote NACNS and the role of the CNS. We're also going to be responsible for giving financially to the CNSI. No set requirement, but there is an expectation that we support what we're putting our time into.
Now we're going to share some application tips um, and share a little bit about the timeline to help you prepare for the ballot preparation and nomination process. Here's a quick look at the timeline and process. You likely saw an email uh, last week from NACNS with a call for nominations for the elected positions, the list of positions available, uh, all of which we have discussed today, and a link to apply. Um, that link is live as of top of the hour, and nominations are open. The application is web-based and includes a few short response questions in addition to the required CV and headshot. The call for nominations will be open today, July 23rd, and will remain open until the 27th of August. All potential candidates are interviewed by the nominating committee members, which lasts about 30 minutes. These interviews will be conducted by video when possible. Following the completion of the interviews, the nominating committee builds a provisional ballot for each position, and this is submitted to the board of directors for approval, which will occur in early September. Once the ballot is approved, NACNS will send it to the members for a vote. This usually happens in early September, with a few weeks provided for voting. Those elected will be notified uh, in November, and service will begin in April 2025, uh, with meetings kicking off after the NACNS conference. If there are any questions about the timeline, put them in the chat box, please, and I'll try to answer them. Also, it should go without saying that in our current world, all timelines do have some flexibility built in them, but um, just know that nominations are open starting today until 27 August.
And finally, we just wanted to say a little bit about experience and representation. NACNS has worked for years to ensure that the organization's leaders are as representative of the membership as possible, but it's always challenging, especially more so with a smaller organization like the NACNS. While recent public discourse has focused on race and ethnicity, there are a tremendous number of potential areas to also consider diversifying our membership. We want leaders who represent various specialties and settings, for example, inpatient, outpatient, academic, industry, military, specialties. We have a surplus of adult gerontology CNSs, but I'm always shouting out my pediatric and neonatal CNSs. We want folks with a diverse educational background, which may include masters, DNP, or PhDs. It's also helpful to have leaders from a variety of populations served. Peds, adults, women's, mental health, peri-op, ambulatory. We need leaders to serve in a variety of areas. This can include different committees or task force. For example, those who perform community or local CNS work. Perhaps you work at the affiliate level or have experience at the national level. We can use your help. Finally, we want leaders who are diverse with regards to gender and race. If you're on the call and don't see yourself represented by the organization and its leader in whichever way, please step up, answer the call, consider serving, and let us know how we can better serve you. If there are any questions about the timeline, please put them in the chat box. And we'll be as flexible as we can to make sure everyone is represented throughout this process.
After this call, if you have any further questions about the call for nominations or the application process, please do not hesitate to reach out to me or Alex or any of our members. I'll have our contact information in the next slide. And then here's the contact information for me and Alex, who are presenting to you today, if you'd like to speak to either one of us. And also this webinar is being recorded and will be available for you to review if you're interested in participating in this year's election cycle. And finally, here's the list of the nominating committee members. If you'd like to reach out to any of us individually, perhaps you know one of us and you'd feel more comfortable speaking to one of us directly, about your upcoming application. We look forward to speaking to each of you during your upcoming candidate interviews. And thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you to Alex for presenting with me, and for Mike for managing the chat, and for Juliana for putting this all together for NACNS. Let's check out the chat box and see if there's any questions for us to field.
No current questions, but we have time, so we're happy to answer any questions that might come up. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to us.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. I see in the chat, Marcia reported that the email just popped up. That's great. So awesome to see so many familiar faces in the chat. Thank you all for the support, and please share the information with your affiliates and organizations for these awesome opportunities that NACNS has for us in this upcoming election season. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day.